Tensura What If? Silver Timeline by CBCTEBAS Chapter 50 Partner. Rimuru. Velgrind opened the door with so much force that it broke and was detached from the wall. Let's go! She raised her right fist above in a cheerful manner. Today was the promised day when Rimuru and Velgrind would wander around a world to observe for a day. Although technically the world has already been analyzed and has its own observers, they are doing more of an outing or a one-day vacation to wander around. Velgrind has been waiting for this day for centuries. She has been contemplating how she is going to approach her dilemma with her feelings. She knew that she liked Rimuru, which was already established with the help of Velzard. The question now is, does she want to present this feeling of hers to Rimuru? Does she want to take their relationship one step further than just being friends? Than just being partners? I'll find the answer today. It's already been that long, huh? Rimuru asserted, realizing that more than 5 centuries have passed. After this, I'm going to check on Enki and Siren. Velgrind showed a little pout. Think about them some other time. Velgrind pulled Rimuru to the gate that Rimuru opened in his office. You'll have a lot of time with that tomorrow. Ha ha ha, that is true. Rimuru responded, following Velgrind. Wonder what she has in store for me. Rimuru was not dense enough to not know the real implication of what today will be. It is no investigation, nor outing. It is what the humans and other species called a date. While Rimuru has realized that Velgrind harbors feelings for him, more than a friend should be, he will abstain from making actions similar to with Luminos. While he sees both Luminos and Velgrind as more than friends, he still has some reservations with being in a relationship. If they want Rimuru to be in one, they'll have to persuade him themselves. That is the conclusion that Rimuru came up with. Thus, he continues to act clueless with Velgrind's excitement and actions. Thus the two went to Planet 3 of Cluster I of Universe Edikos. The surrounding is a beautiful green scenery, with vast grassland as far as the eye can see. Even further would be several forests and mountains where the majority of the creatures reside. Rimuru presented his hand to Velgrind, who happily accepted. The two then flew towards one of the tree-covered areas of the planet. As they flew, what should we do? Rimuru turned to Velgrind, as she was the one to lead the whole observation plan for the world. Velgrind turned to Rimuru. She has of course planned out what they will do for the day. It's not an exaggeration to say that she has been planning it for more than a few decades minimum. For now, Velgrind spoke, pointing her finger in front. We'll take a small picnic on that mountain. The mountain that Velgrind pointed to was the tallest mountain of this world. Soon the two arrived at the mountain and laid down on a flat surface somewhere atop. I had Misery make this for us. Velgrind took out a variety of food and placed it down as they both sat down. I see. Rimuru took a sandwich from one of the baskets of food. Velgrind watched him expectantly as Rimuru put the food to his mouth and ate it. Velgrind just continues to watch Rimuru eat. Rimuru noticed and looked at her quizzically. Aren't you going to eat too? Rimuru asked, showing his half-eaten sandwich. Oh Velgrind fumbled, not realizing that she was staring at him. Did you like it? Rimuru nodded with a smile. Yeah, it tastes great, though it doesn't taste like Misery made it. Rimuru looked at Velgrind's cheerful expression and chuckled to himself with how easy it was to read her expression. I see, Velgrind said, giggling to herself. I'm glad you like it. She sways as she hums with joy. You should eat too. Rimuru presented his half-eaten sandwich. Oh, sure. Velgrind took a bite of the sandwich before chewing slowly, savoring every bit of it. I did say it's good, but... Rimuru looked at Velgrind's face that savored the food she just ate. Velgrind, after swallowing her food, licked her lips. Only then did she notice Rimuru looking at her. Velgrind took a sandwich from the basket and ate it, pretending to ignore Rimuru's eyes. Easy now, the food won't go away. Rimuru placed his right hand to her cheek. She froze on the spot. Rimuru was slowly leaning in. Velgrind's face turned a shade of red. Is it happening? Right now? Velgrind closed her eyes and started leaning in. She felt Rimuru's thumb swiping something from her lips, and Rimuru's hand left her cheek. Velgrind opened her eyes with shadow of disappointment as well as confusion. You had some sauce on your lips. Rimuru showed his thumb before licking it, with a smirk on his face. Only then did Velgrind realize that Rimuru was messing with her. It's so fun to tease her. I realized this with Luminos, but I seem to like messing with them. Rimuru chuckled to himself internally as he watches Velgrind's face turn from embarrassment to anger real quick. Hemp. Velgrind pouted, turning her face away from Rimuru. She started eating while staring at the sky, trying to recollect herself. Come on, don't be angry. Rimuru leaned in from her side, trying to peek at her expression. Velgrind turns every time Rimuru switch places to look at her face. This small exchange lasted for a few minutes. Did I went too far? Come on, don't be mad. Actually, I brought some food myself. Rimuru started taking out some of his creation. Here, you could have some. Velgrind smelled the sweet scent coming behind her, and with her body betraying her, turned around. What she saw was a variety of different sweets, from simple parfaits to full-blown cakes. Come on, here you go. Rimuru took a spoonful of a sundae and placed it in front of Velgrind's face. This feels like he's messing with me. Velgrind opened her mouth and let Rimuru feed her the spoonful of sundae. Cheered up yet? Rimuru questioned, tilting his head. For now. Velgrind grumbled, opening her mouth, gesturing to Rimuru to continue feeding her. Sure, here you go. Rimuru chuckled, presenting another spoonful. After their small picnic atop the mountain, the two changed location. They went to one of the few settlements in the world, a town of moderate size with just enough people to consider it as a town. I've never been to this world before. Rimuru glanced around, watching as the passerbys walked the rough streets. The two were currently sitting down on the second-floor balcony. They were being accommodated by a few of the inhabitants of this world that knew of their existence. We hope you enjoy your stay, my lord. A young woman with long light blue hair bowed as she presented the two with beverages. Thanks, Hardy-chan. Velgrind took the two beverages and gave one to Rimuru. Hardy, a demi-goddess of the world they are currently staying in. In fact, the place they were currently in is more of a temple that revere Hardy as its place of faith. Which means, the people that walk around near the temple are believers of Hardy and her faith. Rimuru took a sip. These taste delicious. Indeed, the fruits are perfectly blended and the temperature of the drink is just perfect. Velgrind added after taking a sip of hers. Thank you very much for the compliments. I'll make sure to give the praise to Wereharen. Hardy smiled as she left the two. This feels nice, Rimuru commented as he watched the streets, just sitting here and relaxing. Didn't you enjoy your last vacation? Velgrind recalled the week that Rimuru stayed in the Cardinal world. Rimuru turned to Velgrind. Well, technically in name yes. It was a vacation, I guess, he sighed. It didn't feel like vacation, more like visitation of old friends. Rimuru massaged his temple as he recalled the antics in the facility. Well, you could think of this as one. Velgrind tried cheering Rimuru up. Thanks, Rimuru smiled back. The two relaxed at the town for hours, simply enjoying the time they had alone together. They talked about different things, from fun memories to complaints about other people that annoys them. Velgrind looked at the sky, with the shade changed to orange, signifying the longevity that they had their talk. It's already been that long, Velgrind muttered to herself. She took a deep breath and turned to Rimuru. Rimuru turned to Velgrind quizzically. Something wrong? There's one more place we should go. Velgrind stood up and presented her hand to Rimuru. Rimuru stood up and took her hand. Both were teleported to an uninhabited beach. Come on, let's play. Velgrind pulled Rimuru to the water. Hey, Rimuru was soaked until his waist from the ocean's water. Then he felt water doused to his face. He looked and Velgrind was there, looking at him with a smile. Velgrind changed her clothes to a something more fitting, a beach. A two-piece swimsuit sharing the same color of her hair. Rimuru grinned at her, placed his hand on the water and threw some on her. Rimuru changed as well, in something akin to swimming trunks, exposing his entire upper half. Try catching me. Velgrind dived down underwater. She swam fast, faster than any fishes. Try, hey, here I'll go. Rimuru followed suit. The two swam underwater for several minutes in their game of cat and mouse. They were now a bit far from the beach, simply swimming underwater since they don't require to breath. Velgrind lost track of where Rimuru was. She resurfaced from the water. Gotcha, a whisper was suddenly uttered behind her ear. She felt two firm arms holding her from behind. Velgrind turned her head to see Rimuru smiling at her. Seeing Rimuru's face so close to her had her turning red. She placed her hands above Rimuru's arms, and leaned her head towards his shoulder. You got me. The two stayed in that position for more than 5 minutes, basking on each other's company. Velgrind looked at the setting sun and how beautiful it was that they saw this together. "Hey Rimuru," Velgrind turned her body facing Rimuru. "Yeah?" Rimuru tilted his head. The two were still in each other's arms as they float in the middle of the ocean, with the setting sun as their background. Velgrind tried to speak, her voice shaking from the nervousness she is feeling. She took a deep breath. "You see Rimuru," Velgrind started. "I've been with you for thousands of years, as your friend and as your partner. Our first meeting was a disaster," both chuckled at the recollection. "Yeah, you were really harsh at me back then," Rimuru joked. "Hey," Velgrind pouted, "anyway, as someone who's been with you for a long time, I've experienced things that I didn't even know existed. And had a lot of fun staying with you. Recently though, I've been having this strange feeling in my chest." Velgrind looked down, looking at Rimuru's chest. She couldn't look at Rimuru's eyes directly for her next words. "I've been ignoring it for a while, but Big Sister has helped me realize what it is. I've been jealous of when I saw you having fun with other girls. Lei was the first example of when I felt this pain, then towards Luminos. It was painful to ignore it, that's why that is." Velgrind lost again for words, stopped speaking. "That's why?" Rimuru raised her face with his finger to her chin. Velgrind looked at Rimuru's face, who was wearing a warm and kind smile, waiting for Velgrind's next words with patience. Basically, Velgrind's eyes swam around, having a hard time collecting herself. "Come on, just say it." Velgrind closed her eyes and opened them with purpose. "Rimuru, I love you."